when I came back to my school in Australia, I wasn't that guy. Like a lot of people didn't really like me or respect me. And after a while, I just started trying to make new friends, trying to go to more events. Every weekend I was going out. And I'm not going to say that I didn't make more friends. I'm not going to say that I didn't put myself out there and work on something I needed to work on. But I learned something really important, that just going out and just trying to make friends with as many people as possible wasn't the best way to go about it. Like, of course, it's good to be social, it's good to be friendlier with everyone. But as soon as I started sacrificing personal values, like my YouTube channel, that was the point where I started, like, every single time I'm not consistent in uploading, I feel guilty and I don't feel like I'm, living up to my potential. And this all came because I stopped waking up at 6:20 every morning to film for an hour before I would go to school. That was what I was doing for like a month straight. And I was honestly super happy, but I started sacrificing my values, and it all like hit me this one night when I asked this guy, because I thought I was like being more friendly. People were starting to come around to me, and they were. But then this one guy still didn't like me. He was still holding on to this first impression of when I first met him, and he didn't really like me for. I remember I asked him to go to his party, and he just kept saying no, letting me down easy. And after a while, I realized I'd lost a lot of my self-respect, and I'd put all this value on other people liking me instead of me becoming the best person that I can be and just finding some really genuine people. I was putting all my value on what some teenager thought of me, when most teenagers don't even genuinely, most teenagers are insecure and don't even like themselves. Or not most, but like quite a lot. Or a lot of them are down a bad path. And you know what? The guy, he's like a good person, but I honestly wouldn't see myself being like super close with him and hanging out with him all the time. And that's when I realized that you should never sacrifice your values just to be more popular. And you know what? There's another time in the same school that I met a really good friend. This is like a very different story, because this is a very different situation, because I would every lunchtime for a while, maybe because we have a chance to go to the gym in our lunchtime at school. So for about a year, maybe half a year, maybe not a year, but about a half a year, every lunchtime, go to the gym. I would train hard as fuck, mate. Every single time I would go to the gym, there would be rare occasions where I wouldn't train hard. I'd be going every single rep. I would every single set, I would be sweating, hardly able to get each rep. And every day there was this other guy there, and he would always I would always speak to him. I would always be friendly with him. I was friendly with everyone in that gym. But he would see me every day just going there, working hard, trying to build a good physique that I'm really proud of. And then after a while, he started, he followed me on Instagram, and he just saw because I was putting a lot of stories when I was with my good friends doing cool stuff. And after a while, he was just yeah, bro, he saw my stories, he was yeah, that's really cool. And he asked me, yo, we should do something sometime. And that's when I realized, if you're just working on yourself, being around good people you really like, doing interesting things with them, being trying to be as social as possible, training, working on yourself as much as possible, then you're probably going to find somebody who's also at that level. I went to his 18th birthday the other week, had an amazing time, and he was just surrounded by great people. And that's the kind of person I would want to hang out with. And I wanted to share the story because these two guys are both in my school, but I met one of them, I couldn't get over the fact that he didn't like me, but because I was trying too hard. I was trying to be friends with him and everything, even though he might not have liked me that much. Whereas the other guy, I just spoke to him all the time, was friendly, and he ended up speaking to me a lot, and he made himself available for me to hang out with him and get closer with him. And, it took a while for us to organize a meetup, but we've hung out, and every time I've been with him, he's a great person, and he's the kind of person that I would want to be friends with. He respects himself, and he's a really kind person, and he's not a complete loser. He's not on some stupid path, blowing himself up, like most teenagers are. He cares more about his success than just going to as many parties as possible. And that's something that I'd done wrong for a while. That's all I had cared about, was just trying to make as many friends as possible, instead of trying to make really good friends. And I learned that, you should speak to everybody, be friendly with everybody, but you're only going to meet a couple of people that you're really close with. You're not going to be super close with every single person. You're not going to hang out with every single person all the time. That's when I learned, you got to just stay on your path. Never sacrifice your goals and stuff just to be a little bit more popular. But you should always try to be more friendly, but never lose your values, never lose your self-respect, just trying to be friends with more people. You know, there was this one time, this is like probably the biggest tip I have for you. This one time I was at this clothing store. I hadn't seen these two guys in like months. I'd basically just been like in my room working. I hadn't been socializing. I lost all my social skills, mate. It was impossible to speak to new people at that time. I don't think I was ever speaking to girls. Like, you know, I was speaking to girls and stuff, but not in a way where it was like I was flirting or anything. And I had nothing going on, super long dry patch. And that's all right. Like, you don't need to be with a girl all the time. But the reason that I'm saying that is because as soon as I was with these guys, I was laughing my ass off, and we were in this clothing store. And just because I was with this one really good friend and another really good friend, but mainly this one guy, I had this confidence. He was like, yo, go up to that girl, bro. So I remember for the first time in months, I ended up going up to this girl, speaking to her for like a couple minutes, like talking about the clothes. Like, I was like, oh, do you reckon this suits me? Had a nice little conversation. That was the first time I'd gone up to a girl in ages. And I wanted to share this story because sometimes we just have that one friend who, when we're with, we have like unlimited confidence, or like we feel way better about ourselves because we know they're a good person, that we know they like us, and they encourage us to be more social. They encourage us to be a better person. Once you find that person, bro, it's so much easier to make new friends, because when you're with them, you're already in a social mood. It's so much easier to meet new people, and I really recommend just trying to find that one guy. And you know what? The way you find that guy, I remember this one person who, you know, at the start of school, we both, like, nobody really liked us, man. I had a really rough start when I moved to Australia, this school. Got some rumors spread about me that weren't true, and honestly had a really rough time. It's nothing like that anymore, thankfully, but there was this other guy who was having a very similar experience as me. But I didn't care what other people thought about him. Because, I mean, of all people, I would understand what it's like to be misjudged, treated poorly, even though I know I'm a good person, even though I know there's nothing wrong with me. And so there was this guy, and we were both going through the same struggle, and we would always stand up for each other. Like, we would go to the gym, and there would be people just trolling him. And this one time, I remember this guy, like, came up, like, I don't think it's appropriate for YouTube, but he came up, he was basically harassing my mate. I stood up for him, I told him to fuck off. And after a while of us doing that for each other, we were sitting at this table with, like, you know, this guy who's kind of my friend, but he was taking the piss out of me. And I was with, like, the friend who I'd stood up for. And he just ripped into this guy. Like, he just took the fucking piss out of this guy. Because when you stand up for somebody, they respect you so much. Like, if there's somebody at your school who's having a hard time and you stand up for them, they are gonna, like, remember you for a long time, unless they're a really shit, ungrateful person. But, like, most of the time, that person is gonna really respect you and really, like, be really grateful that you stood up for them. And after a while, if you go through something hard, maybe if you're just training at the gym, you're both training really hard, or in my experience, we were both going through a hard social experience. We had each other's back. That struggle bonded us, and we became really good friends. And he was there for me when I needed it. And I think he's visiting soon. We're gonna hang out. And it's super important to just have, like, that one really good friend who, like, the main, in my opinion, the best way to, like, make a friend that good quality is you got to be a good quality person, training, you know, being like a loyal friend, being kind to everybody, being friendly. And that's what I had done. I didn't judge him at all for what had happened to him, because, you know, I had gone through it as well. And that's how we became so close. That's the guy that I can be around, and I'd be able to talk to anybody because I feel confident being around this guy. Thanks for watching this video, mate. Hope you have a good day. Subscribe.